Welcome to Becoming Awesome with Peter D.
Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you're here today for this Q&A and awakening transmission. My name is Peter D, and it's my honor to be here with you. And I have to tell you that before we get started, I was just a bit on the afraid side. You know, I'm a human being. I have doubts too. And I wonder what I'm doing. This is really useful and helpful. And Spirit always just laughs when I confess my doubts publicly. So that's why I'm telling you guys publicly, because I just don't want to keep them inside. And I want you to know that I'm just a regular guy here. I've done my work, yes. I've cleared a lot. And that keeps me open to source. So when I'm speaking today, I'm going to be speaking from my experience and the 24/7 connection I have with my sacred higher self. So it'll just kind of be a merge coming through in the answers. And if any other things, entities choose to show up, sometime Archangel Michael likes to play, things like that, I'll let you know. So the way we're going to work this is if you have a question, go to the icon bar below in the bottom of your screen, click the thing, raise your hand, and you'll show up on my screen. Then I'm going to check in with source and just kind of say, oh, which one of these hands that are up feels like it's best for the question that will help the most people on the call and watching this video later. So that's how we're going to run with all that. And yeah, we're going to do that for about 90 minutes, and then we'll get into a transmission because I've been given awakening. I've been blessed by that, and I will pass that along as well. So here we go. We're going to start with Lori Roth. So if you could please unmute yourself, Lori, and go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. I would just like sometimes I'm sure this happens to a lot of us. I mean, it seems like maybe it happens to you. In the 90s I went through all these things. So now I can go into these ecstatic states. However, I can also go into the old ways of thinking. Something based in fear, which is what I try and watch. And then I just try to, if I notice that happening, I know it's a thought form. And I know all thought forms are just created, or how we create reality. So I just observe it and sort of usually let it go. But can you give us anything so we don't keep going through it? And then we can just hold that awareness all the time. Does that just eventually somehow just sort of click in, like all of a sudden? Or is there a certain way your energy field changes? Because I've also heard that there's a certain point where your chakras all align and all these different things happen and the plasma field is whole. So how do you even know where you are?
All right, so you got a lot of questions in there, and I want to address those before we go any further. Okay. First of all, Spirit was enjoying your question and laughing while it's like, where did you get this notion that this is 24/7, that you're in samadhi? Very few people have executed that on the planet to date. And it's going to happen, but may not happen today or now. Okay. But we got this notion that, oh, something's not correct because I'm no longer in this bliss state I was in. Now, there's a couple of things working there. The first thing working there is Kundalini. And for most times when your Kundalini is high, you're in a super bliss state. And then when your Kundalini drops back down, you're in these other states, which can involve conflict and stuff like that. When you become awakened, your Kundalini will go into orbit. So you'll be at a pretty high state all the time, but that does not prevent any of the other stuff that comes up, because you need that other stuff or else you stop growing. Okay. So that's where growth comes from, is those other things come up. And what it is for most of us, and Spirit's kind of telling me in your case, it's probably true as well. What it is for most of us is that we're unpeeling new layers. We've done enough work. We've had some time in the playground and the joy place. Now we're ready to uncover this other stuff so we can move into a better state. That better state may not be permanent either. Okay. As far as samadhi goes. Which is a word I use for totally blissed out all the time. So those are part of your growth path. And this is the way it is because we're going from 3D to 5D. So we have to be in 4D, which means we clear out all that stuff, which is back and forth, back and forth. So that's literally normally the growth process. Now, what's going to happen as you do this more is what you said in the second part of your question. Okay. Oh, I just become aware of it. And then, you know, you do whatever you do. See, that's the point, is that when you have enough of a basis built up, what goes on is that it doesn't freak you out anymore. Oh, I'm back to this horrible place where I've lived for 20. It's not like that anymore. Okay. You're now in this place where you just sit there and you go, oh, yeah, this is my next challenge. This is my next bit of difficulty. And you shoulder the load. And sometimes the load is hard to shoulder. And you make it grumpy and say after a while, okay, God, this is hard shouldering this load. So, you know, I don't like it, but you're going to help me with it. And you do it. And if it gets really bad, I pray the cookie prayer. Okay, I need a cookie now. I've been at this for a while. It really sucks. It's hard. You got to give me some relief now. Okay, so that's how that works. So that's kind of how it's been in my life, in my experience. So you could unmute yourself, Maya Leela, and go ahead and ask your question. That would be great.
And I guess I'm just feeling frustrated and blocked, like I'm blocking myself. Like I keep feeling like an airplane that like is about to take off and then it slows down again and it's about to take off. And just I feel like I've been doing that cycle for 15 years. And just wondering if you have any input on what I can do or what any of us can do to unblock and stop limiting ourselves from reaching the places that we want to reach.
Let me just tap into your field for a second. Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things are going on. One is timing, and the other is you approach things and you feel like you're ready to go, and some deep-seated programming pulls you back down. And that's the way it is for most of us, is that deep-seating program. And many of us do not have a structure in place, a way to get to that and clear it out. Part of what you're doing now is you're finding that, you know, this, and I may be one person who can share some of that stuff with you. I'm not the only one. You'll see it in all over my website, all kinds of tools and stuff like that for that clearing and stuff. Part of that is the unconscious belief we hold. And that's really the root of the deep-seated programming for most of us. And that is that I'm not good enough for this. I'm not worthy of this. And that usually goes hand in hand. And, oh, I tried it in another life and they killed me horribly for it. So you got that I'm not worthy and super fearful. And it's because it's happening unconsciously. It's very hard then to really make it so that you can break through these next levels. This is the time of ascension on the planet. So it's going to happen, just whether it's with ease and grace. I felt like I was always late to the game, right? Whenever I did anything, I always felt like, oh, these other people are so far ahead of me. How am I ever going to catch up or do anything? But then I always got what I came for. Okay. And the biggest thing is what I could allow. How much of this could I allow myself to hold and receive? So, you know, the only thing I can really tell you is you're right where you need to be. And that was not a wasted 15 years. That was the 15 years of you preparing yourself and launching yourself and trying all these things. So yeah, what I'm picking up in your field and in the field on the planet right now is just a lot of hope. And so I don't know if that message helps you at all, because I know it sucks when you're feeling frustrated, but that's what I'm picking up. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. All right, I'm going to unpin you and then mute you. And let's see who else is in this question field. Sarah Fetchin, can you lower? Oh, yeah, just unmute yourself and go ahead and tell us what's happening, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I wonder if you would have any input on a situation where I've been doing so much work, like probably everyone here, for many years. And I kind of find my purpose, did all the healing, the traumas, the ancestors, kind of found my path and felt so connected like never before. And suddenly all the things that I learned, that we all learned, like law of attraction, how to, have meditate, have some, I don't like the word control, but have an idea of, okay, I'm getting there. And then suddenly the most precious things that I had, which was my son, died suddenly. And then I had to come back to the UK. It's a very long story. They don't want to, everyone wants to. But then I totally disconnected from who I was before. And I just been looking for now a way to reconnect it to who or someone else that I will, because I'll never be the same person again. But try to find a disconnected that I knew that existed before with something divine. And I feel so blocked. And yeah, any input will be very, very helpful. Thank you.
Well, first of all, Sarah, just many, many blessings on you. And what I sense you're picking up on is despair, which is deeply in the field for everybody. Okay. And this is not to minimize what you're going through, because losing a son is a big thing. Okay. But our whole planet, if you look anywhere, particularly with the news feed you, there's a lot of despair in the world. For the planet to ascend, we have to move out of that denser energy. And the only way out of that kind of energy fields is to feel it all. Okay. And that's what's coming up for you at this moment. Now, things were going along nicely for you. And a lot of people make a mistake because those who have controlled us on the planet for a long time have wanted us to do that, to follow them and just give our power away. And so they want us to think we don't have the abilities to do any of this. So if things don't go right for us, they go, see, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? And all that stuff. And so it's normal when things are going along really well, and then you do a crash and burn, to get into this deeper despair of, oh my God, I'm just totally screwed up. I can't do this. Or sometimes, God, why are you punishing me? That kind of stuff, right? And that's normal. That's humany, womany, okay? A different way of looking at that is things were going along really well. That was Spirit's way of showing me that I have that within me and getting me ready to be strong enough so that when I do consciously or unconsciously choose to move the despair out of my field, I know I have the strength to do that because I did that. Now, we sometimes express that as, oh, but I'm disconnected from it and I'm not feeling it. And that's kind of what we do to make sense of the pain. You see, anything fully expressed turns to bliss. And if you don't fully express it, then it blocks up and it gets stuck inside you with this dense energy. Okay. And then to deal with it, we tell ourselves stories to distance with the pain, or, oh, I'm doing the best I can, or, oh, I'm just disconnected now, or something like that. Okay. And that's just literally a mental construction to keep the pain at bay. Now, the only thing I can tell you, and I know this is really hard and probably what you don't want to hear, is dive into it.
Okay, I can take anything.
Yeah, dive into the jaws of the tiger and let it consume you. the whole thing with your son is karmic, of course. You've shared lifetimes together. We all have those in our immediate family. It's no accident. And we choose to play roles for each other. And so there's other stuff from other lives that you were holding in density and then came to this planet to, or this time around on the planet to clear out. And that's what's going on with your son, at least as far as I can see from where I'm sitting. Okay. And so, yeah, it's, you know, on a certain level, you're connected with him, and both in the space of soul space, and both saying, you know, just loving each other for who each of you are. And he's there to help you process all this, because it's not just his grief or the grief of his loss that you're processing, but all the other lifetimes where that's gone back and forth. So that can come off the planet now, so the whole field can be less dense. So I hate when I have to do this with people, when I'm talking to them, and just say, yeah, it's really hard, and it's really good that you're in the middle of that, because that is your process, that is your clearing. And just the fact that you had the courage to stand up and say it in front of people. Yeah. And you know, the whole notion of the magic wand, make it go away thing, you know, that's how it used to be. And that kind of thinking doesn't really move us into a place of authority, saying, I've got this, I can do this, I'm strong enough, I'm connected to source. And what appears to be a loss is my process of how I am clearing despair and moving it off the planet and opening up that spiritual connection with my son into this 3D now, besides everything we share on the soul level. Does that help any, Sarah?
Thank you. Helped me so much, because I think that is what I feel now. You know, the loss is something I have to transform to really connect to him with him now in another way. So this is what I'm trying to. But thank you so much, and thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the message. Thank you.
Yeah, stay blessed. Great. Go ahead and mute yourself if you can. And Krista, I'm getting a big hit that it's time for you to ask your question. So if you could unmute yourself, that would be great, Krista. I'm going to put you on the screen here in 1 second. And go ahead, Krista, please.
Hi, I've also found you very recently through Next Level Soul. I'm really grateful for everything you're doing. It's wonderful work. I also come from that grief. Lost my husband 2 years ago, and I had a massive transformation this year. I made so many shifts that it's almost looking back at my life, I feel like that's not me. So here I am thinking, what is my question? As I've made so many leaps and I'm in this great place on my spiritual journey, trying to find my way and my identity, to trust it that I am this spiritual caregiver, trying to really trust that and move into the next step. And I'm thinking, okay, what is the next step? Obviously, I'm a little bit scared, but I'm trusting too. And also, I've been recently told that I have, and this has really sort of put me sideways, that I have a guardian angel in a previous life or whatever. So that's sort of put me also in a spin tail. So yeah, I'm not sure what the question is. I guess I'm thinking my next steps. I wanted to take a bit of time, but how much time do you take when you need to take some action too? And
so
yeah.
I'm just going to jump in there, Krista, and just kind of tell you that you're kind of in that place where a lot of people are in. It's like, whoa, this is all new. I kind of feel it. I don't know, and everything. Okay. And it's a beautiful place. And
it is.
Your next step was already in your question. Okay. Right. And that was, I'm a little bit scared. Mm-hmm. So your next step is to process your fear. Okay. That's you always just be See, the universe is a perfect reflection. The mirror is operating 24/7. So whatever comes into your field, you see, that is your next step. Okay. So let me just give you an example for me in the last 36 hours. Okay. So a couple of days ago, Spirit said, good, you're getting big, but you've got to get bigger. You need to start hiring some people to do some better technology for you and your website and all that stuff like that. You need to hire that. So I was talking to this guy who produces shows for like millions. Okay. And he's throwing all these monetary figures around that are like making my eyes go, okay. And I'm like, Spirit, is this really what you're talking about? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, so I then got into terror. All right. So I had to spend a day saying, oh, I'm terrified of what I'm being shown is available to me. And then I had to process it. And now the thought is, sure, why not? Because the energy of the terror is now out of my field, so I can allow that to come to me. So just because I'm at where I'm at doesn't mean I'm in it's all peaches and cream and tacos and hot sauce. All right. It's always the same process. Me, you. You're like, oh, you've got some openings. Now you're seeing what's available and you got some fear.
Yeah.
You deal with it. You deal with the emotion that comes up, that clears it, then shows you your next step. Now, if you're uninspired, my wife told me something the other day that really struck me. And she was working with somebody and they're basically were saying they're just not inspired. I just don't know what to do. It's like, do I do this or do that? It just doesn't make sense anymore. And so she was just going through my website, looking at all the free tools and muscle testing what was right for him. And she came across tithe. And so she's like, oh, I hate telling you this because I don't want you to think I'm asking you to tithe to me or us. But we know for a fact that if you give money to what inspires you, you become inspired. So she just told this guy, get $10 bills and keep them in your pocket. And when you walk down the street and you see somebody doing something cool that gives you anything, joy or amusement, you hand them $10 and say, I'm tithing. I believe that whatever I give money to creates it in my world. Right. So if you're totally in a place where you're not anywhere, give to what inspires you. If you've read a good book, if you heard a good song, if you see somebody doing something good in the world, then just give them some. And then that sends the energy flow into the universe where you're sending out, oh, on that thing. And then, of course, it's going to come back to you with your own inspiration. All right. And, you know, that's just, I wanted to tell you that. And the last thing I wanted to tell you is, see, we don't really have a spiritual growth program that you can just follow every step of the way. Religion has co-opted that. Organized religion has co-opted that because they have beautiful things and beautiful teachings, don't get me wrong. And they have a lot of control about what come to us and tied to us. I mean, I grew up in a religion where those who are practicing, the priests, live in palaces, mansions with gold and say, give money to the poor. Right? You know, I'm like, okay, that's a little disconnect for me. You know, we don't have a program laid out. So part of what I'm trying to do is create simple steps. And so I wrote my first book, and this is shameless self-promotion. Okay. And it lays out simple steps. Do this, do this, do that. Now you got a program.
Okay. I've ordered it already. It's coming on Tuesday.
Oh, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm not saying I'm the only guy who knows this. I'm just the only one I'm aware of who's laid it out in simple steps on what to do. But within all that, I want to get back to the tithe thing. Once you open it up, Krista, then you're going to just say, what inspires me? And that will be your guide. Okay. Yeah. Does that help you any?
Yeah, it does. It's, I mean, obviously I've been very drawn to what you're doing, and in this space there are many people, but that's what I'm saying. I don't really go into a lot of live things or anything like that. So this is the first time that I've spoken on any or asked a question. So like I said, I've had so many shifts just in the last week that is just crazy. I'm doing a self-growth program already,
Yeah.
That's
I want to
but I
pass this
thank
along to you, for you and everybody listening, the most powerful prayer in the world. Thank you more, please. So you
yeah, I
just,
wrote that in my journal this morning. I heard you say it. It's in my gratitude journal.
yeah.
I wrote it on the top. It's
So
great.
on all those shifts, you said you've had a lot of shifts recently. That means you're in the flow. The path is opening up. Each one of them, thank you more, please. Thank you more, please. And what's going to happen is each one of them is going to open you up to the next fear. Oh, what's next to clear? And then you go back
Yeah.
and you deal with that. And then you go back to thank you more, please.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's amazing how many synchronicities there are. So yeah, I keep trusting
Yeah. All right.
that the timing will be the right thing. Right thing will happen when it's meant
Beautiful.
to. Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Go ahead and mute yourself, Krista, and let's see here. Yeah, I'm getting a hit that Carrie Friedrich, it's time for you to ask your question. If you could unmute yourself, please.
Can you hear me?
I can. Give me 1 second,
Okay.
and I will pin you so everyone can see you. I got to figure out how to. Here we go. And Carrie, go ahead and start asking, please.
Well, first, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody here. It's so nice to feel like I'm in community of some sort. And it's so wonderful to feel the energy of everybody and just to see faces. I know there's people that are on the path, but I always don't. Now I get to see you all. So, yeah, I've been on this journey for so long and I've worked on so many different things, and I feel that my soul has really been working on helping this planet for a long, long time. Lots of incarnations. I'm really anxious to do my part to help to lift the collective. And I know I have to do my own work and clearing. I've cleared and cleared and cleared. I haven't had a terrible life. I don't have a lot of the trauma and horrible things that a lot of people have. And I worked on my stuff, but I go back to that, the programming is, well, I'm feeling a pressure for a breakthrough, but first I don't know if it's the pressure I'm feeling of the collective that is about to break through, or is it that I'm feeling the pressure that I need to break through? And if it's me, I go back to the old stuff. Well, I'm not good enough, or I didn't try hard enough, or I didn't clear enough of my stuff. I go into that kind of, negative thinking, and I just kind of feel stuck a little bit. Led a life of service. I'm still in service to children and to animals. I'll never stop doing that, but there's more I can do, and I feel a little stuck, and I don't know what to do next. Should I work harder on clearing? I'm still a little triggered on stuff. I don't know. That's why I'm asked my question.
Yeah. Yeah. So, first of all, you're just so beautiful, both for your question and for your soul and for who you are, everything. So I'm going to tell you a story that pissed me off when I heard it. And that's the one fine day story, right? Where I was told to me at one of the schools I attended, and how when you reach this level of mastery, you're just going to wake up and it's just going to be there for you. And until then, you're going to keep, right? And then one fine day, you're just going to wake up. And I'm like, oh, that so pissed me off. It's like, I come from the West. I want to know that I work hard and I make my progress and I can see them in goals and stuff like that. So you may have to let go of whatever timetable's holding you. And you said you've done a lot of clearing, which we have and you have, and it's beautiful. And now front on your list is, I'm pissed off because my timetable isn't working. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's going to have to do some work. And it's funny because when I teach about how clearing works, I say you get miracles, and that is God either manifests it or a bodhisattva shows up and explains it to you, or nothing changes, but you don't care anymore. So
Yeah.
you may be in boat number 3 for miracles. Okay, so yeah, it's frustrating. It's just it's the superhuman condition. Now, is there more to do? Yes. Are you needing to double down your efforts? No. You need to keep your efforts up. You shouldn't double down your efforts. Spirit's telling me very strongly you need the opposite. You don't have, I'm just guessing, okay, you don't have a play schedule in there where you're just laughing every day for 30 minutes or an
Yeah.
hour, where you're with people celebrating. So that holds the energy in place. So you don't work. So what I tell people is, yeah, do your processes an hour a day and then spend 23 hours a day playing and laughing. That's the balance we need to know that we're in the higher energy and it's all okay. And then the goals and the markers of how far along you are don't mean as much. Okay. So if you're in super big pain and stuff, of course you work your processes really hard to clear the pain until you get past out of that, because it's painful, right? But if you're in a place where you're in a pretty good place, then 23 hours a day you should be playing and laughing. Okay, and that
Yeah.
then will propel you because it's holding a higher frequency within you. Okay, and a lot of people forget that because we're Westerners and we work so hard. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that, and I do understand that when you are in your bliss and you play or whatever it is that makes your heart sing, I know that that raises our vibration. I know that it raises my vibration. And you're right. I'm pretty driven. I always accomplish my goals and I don't play. But I've been trying to do my art and doing things that I haven't done for years to make my heart sing, to raise my vibration. And I I guess I just don't know, like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Just raising my vibration and holding the light? Am I just like a light holder and that's why I'm here? Or but I feel like I need to be doing more. I feel like I need to be doing more, and it's not breaking through, and I feel like it's because I'm not doing enough.
Yeah. So first of all, you're going to move your charges around that. I feel like I need to be doing more. What's the belief behind that? In always, it's you're not good enough, or you're not worthy, or
Yes,
you're not going to get what you.
yes,
So then you have to move the charges behind that. Well, what's the feelings that go with not worthy or not good enough? Oh, I suck. I'm not loved. I'm alone. Okay. So then what's the belief? So you keep going those two. What's the belief? What's the feeling? So you don't get any more until it just cycles back and forth. Then you hit the end of it. Then you clear your charges on that. So you kind of do your internal life review, and you're aware of that. And obviously you're ripe because you almost broke into tears just talking about it. So obviously, when you do choose to do work, that's going to be right at the top of the list. Now, there's this misconception that so many people hold, okay, that the work out there is somehow different than the work in here. All right. So you're in the oneness field. So if you obtain enlightenment, let's say, then hundreds of thousands of people around you will get lifted up automatically without doing a damn thing. Okay. And you could just attain enlightenment and just do art and baking all day, and that would be service to the planet. All right. I'm dealing with the ego struggle because I got an ego still and I'm trying to make sense of it. People keep sending me emails. Oh, I saw you on this podcast and I was in tears the whole time. Or you just have this loving thing. You're so loving. And I'm like, no, I'm a dick. How do you say that I'm loving? Stuff like that. Okay. So I'm dealing with all that because this was the other story. This was the other story that the person who told me the one fine day story, which was the Ramtha, sometimes called Rama. All right. So the Ram was saying, Oh yeah. So if you're a master and you're walking along, flowers will grow in your footsteps. And I'm starting to deal with that. Am I a master? All right. So this is totally freak out for me. So I'm telling you this story, one, to brag, and two, to let you know that if you clear out your own personal stuff, that is service to the planet. Now, all the service you're doing is beautiful and you should do it and everything. But if you do it because you're trying to help the planet, I'm not sure you're going to get the desire you want to get. I was taught
Okay.
to look at significance. Why am I doing something? And I have to identify the need for significance in it, which is why I tell you guys when I'm bragging all the time, because it's the only thing that keeps me aware of my need for significance. So let's say there's a mom and she loves her kid and she's a great mom. She's doing it out of love. And at a certain level, she wants to hear, Mom, you're a great mom. Okay, so you're doing all this stuff in the world, so significance is an issue with that as well. So you might want to just keep, what do is you just keep a little list. Anything you do, you write down how you feel when you do it, and then you write down, what do I want unconsciously from this? And if you do that for 24 hours, you'll just see, oh my God, everything I do comes because for my craving for significance, which is perfectly beautiful and normal because we're human. Okay, but if you mistake taking care of your craving for significance with service to the planet, then you get a little disconnect. Okay. And then once you get clear that you're okay with your significance, then whatever you do is uplifting. And then when you start to clear all those blockages that come up because you did your internal work, then when you go help the animals or the children or the forest or whatever, it has a bigger effect. Okay. So don't stop what you're doing. Just be aware of why you're doing it. And remember that your service to the planet is you. Your service to the planet is you becoming as beautifully expansive and connected as you can possibly be. And that is service to the planet.
Thank you.
All right. That's beautiful. Thank you. Go ahead and mute yourself. And I'm getting 2 people that I both want to get to, 3 people. So I'm going to take you in this order. I'm going to take you, Donna, and then Carrie, and then Jesse, because I'm getting a big hit that I should talk to all 3 of you. And Donna, you absolutely have to email me later with your screensaver of that lion. Oh my God, that must happen, please. So go ahead, Donna, and unmute yourself and go ahead and start to ask your question, please.
Yes, hi Peter, thank you. It's very interesting that you mentioned the lion because I feel quite the opposite. Yeah, the last few weeks have been really tough. I've been dealing with an addiction, a weed addiction for the last few years. And coming up into this new year, it'll be 7 years. And the last few weeks, I've just been, 7 years smoking, not smoking. So I don't know, this has some significance for me, this 7-year mark, I think. And the last few weeks, even as I'm speaking now, my heart is like pounding in my chest. My emotions are like going crazy at the moment. It's my first day out. Today was my first day I didn't smoke weed. And I'm trying to get away from it. But I'm so terrified that I won't be able to stop because I've stopped so many times and picked it up again. And it's making everything worse for me. It's what it gave to me years ago. It's like it's reverse. So it's increasing my anxiety now. I'm becoming more paranoid, and it's like this fight, with addiction. It's very, very difficult. And I'm also really interested in channeling, and I think that's holding me back as well, my smoking, because I really, really want to channel. And yeah, I think I'm just, and another question about the channeling as well. It's,
Let's deal with addiction first, okay? Yeah. So first of all, you're beautiful and you're honest. And that authenticity is the root of your beauty. Okay. So thank you.
It terrifies me.
Yeah. course it does. Of course it does. Why do you think we do drugs? All right. Okay. So first of all, I went the addiction path to find my spirituality. All right. So I had to do the addiction path to find my spirituality. And I'm just muting everybody because I'm getting some background noise. So Donna, you're gonna have to unmute yourself in just a moment. Okay. So I went the addiction path. What's helped me was a channeled message of all things to just really say every time that I used a substance, God, this is the best I can do. Literally. I know it's not getting me what I want. I know it's making it worse. I know all this other stuff. And the best I can do in this moment with the pain I have is this drug. 3 days of that, and I was in AA. Okay. It was all it took was 3 days of just admitting it. That's the second thing I want to tell you is most addiction is spiritual in nature. And most of it is, as I've learned from when I was in AA, was trying to put the round peg in the square hole. It just didn't fit. And the only thing that fills that hole is God. And until you realize that you're connecting with source, you're not going to do it. Now, I'm not telling you just go a spiritual path. I'm telling you get physical help. Don't do this crap alone. Work a program. There's AA, there's NA, there's all that other stuff. Work it. It'll help you a lot because you'll get support and stuff like that. And that's super important. Okay. Then when you're ready, you're going to start to understand your fear. The fear of why you're doing it and the fear of what happens when you do it. And that may look like you go forward and backwards. You may use, you may not use, you may backslide, you may relapse, you may do all this other stuff. It may look like that. But if you keep being integrity with, this is all I can do right now, and then take it upon yourself to be honest, I choose to feel what I'm feeling right now. And it's really hard, which is why I said join a support group, because you want to feel all that stuff where there's people who will friend you, will help you. The fundamentals of the 12 steps, which is beautiful, is that everybody there knows that their sobriety depends on how much they help other people as they give it, so they get it. So if you go out there and say, I need help, I'm wanting to use now, 10 people will give you their phone number and say, call me. Before you pick up that weed, pick up the phone. 10 people will do that. Okay. And that's hugely connective and helpful. So that's the whole weed part. And, I'm years and years into this. I was sober for a decade and a half, actually more than that, 2 decades and a half, right? Now, occasionally I'll do substances and it's fun, but it's no longer like it was there. And I still dealing with sugar. I'm still dealing with pornography. I'm still dealing with all that stuff. It doesn't run my life, but those addictions were laid into patterns in me. And my unfolding means I deal with it. Now, because I do the spiritual stuff I do with everybody, it doesn't rear its head and bite me in the ass as often. But when it does, I still have to do the fundamentals of it's my work and I have to take care of it and be honest and present with it, which is really what solves all the problems. Okay, so I hope that helps you. Now let's get to your second question, okay?
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I have more insight on why I'm smoking. I want to numb myself, and the state of my consciousness, let's just say, is not a very pleasant place to be hanging out.
Total reason why. Yes, that numb feeling, right? Go put on some Pink Floyd. I want to become comfortably numb, right? I understand.
That stops working after a while. When you start cutting yourself off from the rest of life, you become numb. And I just wanted to add is I'm very angry with myself that I haven't kicked this addiction yet. And I know I'm very hard on myself. And I know that doesn't help. It's counterproductive, and I'm getting really annoyed with myself. Anyway, so the question is,
hold on, just stop right there. There's absolutely, I teach people to move charges. There's absolutely nothing where you move the charge where you just let yourself hate on yourself for 20 or 30 minutes, because it'll really get you clear on, oh my God, this is all my unconscious patterning, and it'll burn the steam off. Then at that point, the emotional charge is gone. And so when the self-hate comes up, you can go, oh yeah, that's just a mental pattern again. and then choose. Yeah, I hear you, self-hate, but I'm going to choose this because it's not being driven. The engine's not being driven because you move the charge. So I don't want to bypass that. If the self-hate comes up, give it 20 or 30 minutes, let it out.
You mean just leave it to air it?
Yeah, go look in the mirror and say all those horrible things until you start crying, and then go, fuck, I'm saying all that stuff to myself. Oh my God. Because that's when you'll feel the love that's underneath it, because it's been blown off. The lid's been blown off.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very reluctant to get any outside help. I'm very isolated. With the channeling, I think my
Hold it. I can't let that go by either. Can't let that go by. I'm cutting a video tomorrow morning, and you're like the fourth person in 2 weeks who've said this to me. And that's why I'm cutting this video tomorrow morning, which is, oh, I'm isolated and I'm alone. And I'm like, do you hear what you just said? What's isolated and alone is not just you, as within, so without. What is within you is isolated and alone. All your feelings that you're distanced from, that you're trying to numb, is isolated and alone. Okay. And so what do? You create a life of isolation and aloneness. So how do you get out of it? Well, you can just stay alone and keep going inside, or you can just go to a support group where everybody looks at you and sees you, and the embarrassment of them being seen and everything will break all that stuff loose. All right. So I've heard that from so many people. I'm alone and I need help. Well, go get some friends. Well, can't do that. Yes, because what's going on the inside is an exact reflection of what's going on the outside. Your feelings are isolated and alone because they've been suppressed. Do you get that inside-outside connection?
Yeah, I've just realized that now. I've been isolating myself a lot, Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now ask the question about channeling. Sorry, I kept interrupting. So I'm an interrupter.
I just wanted to ask, as you know, I've been very interested in channeling, and when I saw this a few years ago, I went, "Oh my God, this is the best thing ever! I can get an answer on demand any time of the day. I will just be perfect. If I channel, I'll be perfect," which I know now is ridiculous. But I'm still drawn to it, and my question is, am I supposed to be hearing a voice in the head when I'm listening to when I channel? I'm not hearing this voice. I mean, this is confusing to me.
Okay. So there's different clairs: clairaudience, presence, clear sentience, clear this, clear that, and there's no supposed to. Okay. All right. And you may or may not be hearing stuff because you may be numbing yourself with weed, and it may then just be your mind telling you stuff and you think it's channeling. So getting clear off of the weed's going to help a lot. And then at that point, I get energy squirts, and I have to make sense of it. I know people who smell stuff. I don't even know what the word is. I put it in my book, but I don't remember it. I like to say clear smellians, where they just can smell things that are out there. All right. So, and as far as the clear answers and stuff, half the time I'll ask a question to spirit and they just laugh at me. And this was something I learned in AA because we were really sick, and I was on the island of Guam, and we didn't have a lot of people with experience to share. So we were just a bunch of newbies who were sick. And we came up with the slogan, "We'll laugh at you until you learn to laugh at yourself." Okay. So a lot of times, that's in me, I'll ask spirit a question and they just laugh. They're like, "Peter, do you hear what you're saying?" And that is my answer. All right. And so, because spirit never tells me what to do, and that's something I'm encouraging you to accept, that if spirit's telling you what to do, maybe that's mind's talking. Okay. Spirit never tells you what to do because you have free spirit and it wants you to become. And it's going to give you options, and you're going to choose what's right for you, and it's going to support you in that. Yeah. But whether you get a voice or not, you might. I don't know. Sometimes I get them, but most of the time I don't. I have to get energy squirts and I have to translate.
Okay, so energy squirts, or other people get like blocks of thought, or I guess other
people channel through art. People channel through music. I know I've got friends who sit down at the piano and just start playing, and then I go, "Is that improv?" They go, "No, spirit's making me do this." It's just how it goes. All right, Donna, thank you. Carrie, it's up for you now. So if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and then go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, Peter. Hi, everybody. I'm so thankful to be here. I just realized I was doing a meditation with you, and I think actually I was watching because I was one of those people that wanted to watch first, and then I am a member now, and I'm so thankful because as soon as I joined, my heart became full of love. But when I was doing this meditation, I realized I had these wings and I came out of my body, and you had us going up above the earth looking down, and the wings were flapping my body away, this body, and it was just turning to dust. And I felt sad. I felt sad that I was letting go of my whole entire life, all of this pain, all of the abuse, all of the things that I worked so hard to get past, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand that sadness. Why? What is the point of my life? I almost had this feeling like, what is the whole point of the life and all that pain?
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, again, just the fact that you're asking this question, Spirit is wanting to shower you with so much love. And I hope you just can feel that and receive that. And second of all, the mind wants to make a reason. And your existence is way bigger than your mind. So if you wanted to play what if games with mind, I can think of 20 or 30 reasons for all that pain. And the most common one is clear. Stuff was in your field and needed to come out, and this was your process to see it to come out. And rather than saying, oh, I'm up above and I'm looking down and I see this and it burns away and there's just pain left, another explanation could possibly be, oh, I'm up in this other place now, and the lower levels of the density of the pain that I was feeling has now been cleared. Maybe that means I can have access to this upper place as much as I want. And maybe it's not just going to be pain next time because that's now clear in my field. And we were discussing this earlier, and the sad painless field of the planet is so strong right now because that's what we're clearing, and so that's what has to come up to be cleared. And so the whole point of it is the point. The pain is the point, because we're getting done with it, we're finishing it. And then after that, people say, oh, why have I been choosing that? And it's like, you don't have to anymore because you're not stuck with that energy anymore. So yeah, it's going to be a matter of knowing. See, you had the experience, and I mentioned this earlier when I was talking with somebody else. You had the experience, so you know you can get there where you're up in that higher thing, and that's something. And now you can invite in whatever experiences you want to invite as far as coming back down into 3D bodies and feeling. As I understand it, the whole point of ascension is to take your body with you. All right. And so perhaps you were just burning off the pain body so you can go all Phoenix and out of the ashes come up with a different body that's not a pain body. Okay. And it's got a different set of emotional body. I don't know your individual path and stuff like that. But from what you tell me, I think it's a good thing. And the biggest thing is compassion for yourself. You worked really hard. You were in many, many lifetimes where it was difficult. You were in this lifetime where it was tragedies. Can you love that essence of yourself? And it's not like you force the love on. You have to clear the charges, all the judgments and the feelings, because otherwise it's just whistling in the dark trying to put feelings on that. But as you're in that higher place, it's easier to access the compassion. And if you're in that higher place, then basically you're merged with your sacred self, because us as humans don't get to fly off the planet and everyday stuff. So you're in the field with your higher self. So you're already merged, which is kind of cool. So the thing to do is to just say, okay, higher self, your job is when I'm in that lower pain stuff to remind me, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here. And my job is to just hold my hand up so you can grab it and I can feel it go, yeah, might be pain, but I'm connected. Does any of that help, Carrie?
Oh, that was exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you.
You're such a blessed soul. You just are a blessed soul. So just keep being a blessed soul, even if it's painful sometimes, okay?
Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Go ahead and mute yourself if you can. And then I think Jess, my favorite Jess, it was your turn to
Hi, Peter.
ask a question. Hey, how you doing?
I'm your favourite. That's so lovely. Yeah, heaps good. Really good. Yeah, I wasn't heaps good yesterday morning. I went back into one of my old-fashioned, like, angry, ranty moods, and I got through it, which is really good. I hadn't had one for months, so
Go ahead.
yeah, I know. So I have been a little bit stuck on my next thing, which is wanting approval and acceptance. And I've sort of realized it's sort of interwoven into just about everything that I do and think. And I think I've traced it back to not believing that I'm good enough or worthy. And I was wondering how I might get to the complete root of that.
Yeah. So there's that old curse. Do I have to get it completely, or can you just open the door a little bit? Okay. But anyway, you were listening earlier when I was speaking about significance and the craving for significance. And that's going to apply here as well. That's kind of the theme. So we need approval, right? Because we're human. And as we're embodied, we all want to be that little kid. Hey, Ma, look at this, no hands. Okay. So we need that, and we all desire that, and that's human. So the two things is one, like I was saying, carry a notebook around for 24 hours. And no matter what you do, be honest. What do I desire here? Whether it's your kids saying you're great, your husband saying, wow, that was cool, whether it's your neighbors saying, how do you just do that? Whatever it is, always note that. And you're going to see you always have this because it's a human condition. So that's the first part. Second part then is you accept, I desire significance. How do you deal with it? The method I've chosen is I tell everybody, I want you to like me. Okay. So I do that. So here I am. And Jess, what I really want from you is at the end to say, wow, that was so helpful, Peter. You really helped me with your words. That's what I want. Okay. I'm aware of that because I desire significance, right? And
no, I'm definitely resonating with that one.
yes. And have you noticed that that's what I've been getting? Everybody I spoke to, I sit there and I set them up. I go, was that helpful? And then they go, yeah. Because it's just a human transaction. And when we acknowledge we're human and we do it, then everything works out. The third thing, okay, is when you get to the place, you crave significance, you're honest with yourself and others that this is what you're in it for in the moment. And then you notice the unconscious track, the programming that's been there telling you, oh, but you're not good enough, and you don't deserve whatever it is. And so that's when you bring the tools up. And you know the tools very well. You identify what the belief is. You see what the thought is or the emotion behind that that's holding it in place. You see if there's another belief behind that. You keep going till there's no more. Belief, thought. And in most cases, it's I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve. I'm not loved. I'm not lovable. Usually that's where it is. Okay. And so you identify that and then you clear it. You know how to move your charges around. So then it's no longer driving the train. At that point, then you start making choices because the train's being the engine's not driving it anymore. You've done your work with identifying your craving for significance, and then the train slows down over time. And then you just
I
get
think that's what's happening. It's the train thing.
yeah.
Because I have done that. I have identified like why I'm doing these things. I'll be like, I'm talking to this person and I want them to like me because I don't feel good enough. And so I'm doing that. But yes, I think the train hasn't caught up or slowed down, or whatever one.
Yeah.
I haven't caught up to the train, or the train hasn't slowed down. Yes, this was what happened last time I felt stuck.
Yeah. And there you go.
Yes.
And
I feel,
go ahead.
I feel like the not believing I'm good enough, like the unworthiness is huge though. Like it's such a big thing. And I also have the belief that it's too big for me.
Yes, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. It's like, you remember how they taught us in our mythology that if you actually build a set of wings and fly to the sun, you're going to burn out. And that's in our mythology and all that stuff. Don't be too big and stuff. And that's part of the programming we've had for centuries that we're going to have to let go of. And yeah, so yeah. And you're just going to have to go to that. And of course, you know how to clear past lives, because I know I've worked with you on that some. And you're going to go to those past lives where they did kill you for being big and wonderful, and let those emotions out. So you can take that off the planet as well. And then you're going to keep smiling and being happy. And then if you're like me, you'll end up going, hey, look, I did good.
Thank you.
All right, Jess.
Can my kids say hello really quickly?
Yeah, sure.
They're always in bed when we talk. You gonna say hello?
Yeah.
Say hi.
All right, you guys are going to be on YouTube. Make sure you show them on YouTube. All right.
They're famous. YouTube
All right.
famous.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jess.
See you, Peter.
Bye-bye. Okay. I see that there are 4 more hands up. We're going to take all of you, Marla, Shelley, Orly, and Roxana. Not particularly in that order, but we'll take all of you, and then we'll move to the transition. So don't freak out if you don't get in any particular order here, because I want to start with Roxana. If you can, please ask yourself to unmute, or just unmute yourself, not ask yourself, just do that. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello. Okay, this is my first time on this call. My question is kind of big because I'm doing in psychology.
So Roxana, the question is too big because you're breaking up.
My question is,
turn your video off right now. Turn your video off so that I can hear the audio, because it's just not coming through. Okay. Okay, good. Now try your question.
How is this? Better?
Much better.
Okay. So I was saying that my question is kind of big because I am in a phase of my life where I learned so much. I've been a seeker all my life and studied so many modalities, from hypnosis to pharmacology, psychology, and everything. I'm a doctoral candidate in education, and I don't know at what point I should step in public, or I should keep it to myself and do the contribution energetically.
Yeah. Hey, Roxana, I'm really, really sorry. You're breaking up and I cannot pick up your words. I'm going to switch to somebody else. Write your question in the chat as best you can, and then I'm going to come back to the chat and try to answer it there, because I just can't get your words to come across and make sense of them. So I'm sorry for that. Put it in the chat, please, and we'll address it in a few moments. Till then, I'm going to invite you, Shelley, to unmute yourself, and we will go and work with what question you have.
Well, first, I want to tell you I'm thrilled that I get the opportunity to hear what everyone else has to say, because each person really brings wonderful information to the table for me to learn and grow. So I've been experiencing extreme fatigue with work, doing this ascension work, like sleeping 12 hours a night. And with that being said, I'm communicating with spirit very frequently during that period of time. And I'm using the I am sovereign statement, the stand that we made during the class over the weekend. I can read it to you if the other people want to understand what I'm talking about. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody, here it is. This is cool.
I love this. This was life-changing for me. He had us stand up during the class and state, I am sovereign. Nothing comes into my field of being without my permission. Only beings in service to love and light may contact me. All beings must ask to speak with me before fully entering my field. All beings must identify themselves, their names, frequency signatures, and intention in order to contact me. I am sovereign. So this was a big deal for me. It's been working wonderfully with spirit. But I am trying to, it's like when we first did it, it was really strong, and it really kicked out all of those energies that I really didn't want to talk to. And I did have people or energies of spirits coming to me and saying, okay, this is Dad. I want to talk to you about blah, blah, blah. And so then I had a 10-minute conversation with my dad, which was phenomenal. But now I'm questioning if the energies are, how do I know the frequency of what I'm dealing with? Because I think they're maybe misleading me on their names.
That's a pretty high level question, and it's beautiful that you're asking it. First of all, I want to tell you, I'm jealous. You get to sleep 10 or 12 hours a night. If I can pull 5 or 6 off, I'm like, woo! I got 7 last night, so I'm ready for this. Thank God. And so sleep is getting really crazy for lots of people. I'm suspecting, when I check into your field, I'm suspecting that you just had a lot of catching up in your body to do, because so much was being held that you just kind of in one fell swoop let go of, and now your body's like, good, time to rest and rebuild. So let yourself do that. Don't make that like something's wrong with me. Just let yourself rest and rebuild. And then those of us on the other end who aren't sleeping, okay, then yeah, just what spirit keeps telling me is, oh yeah, you're all going to get to the place where you're doing 4 or 5, 6 hours a night is normal. Till you get used to that, it's going to be rocky. So just go ahead. So that's the sleep issue, as best as I understand it. I'm not a doctor or anybody. Okay. This is medical advice. All right. So now on the spirit thing, how do you know what they are? So this is the thing, you are in the universe. You made a declaration of who you are, and you made a declaration of your sovereignty. And that's a big step. That's a big graduation step into becoming a cosmic citizen. Now you're in that playground stage. Or imagine you're in a grade school and you're in the playground. And so now you're with all these entities that you're aware of and stuff. And you're like, how do I know what this one is? And how do I know what that one is? And the answer is always discernment. The answer is, what internal things do I have? All right. And the quickest discernment one is always the name thing. So for those of you who are just watching this the first time, the easiest way to do discernment is to say what your name is out loud. Notice how you feel, and then say what your fake name is. Make up a fake name, full name, say it out loud, see how you feel, notice the difference. So for instance, for me, it's, my name is Peter D. My name is Fred Flintstone. And I just notice the energetic difference, okay? And then I sit there and say, is this person that I'm talking with now, okay, is this a connection that serves my spiritual growth? or whatever you want to say, because it could serve your spiritual growth by showing you that it's a real negative entity and you got a lot of crap you need to clear, and they're going to stir that up in you. Okay, so you want to be careful on what your question is and stuff like that. You're a galactic citizen now. You're a cosmic citizen now. You get to move in the realm of spirit, which is super cool. It's a great place to be. And I personally don't worry about it now. I personally am very, very judicious on who I let in my field. And so when I go to a location, I'll ask those who are in the location, hey, if I feel a good energy resonance there, can I talk to you? And so that's when I picked up a lot of my friends from Egypt, like the Hathors and Sekhmet and stuff like that, which is super cool. Other than that, it's like I'm happy to have my small group of friends. And whether it serves me or not, I don't know. I could probably go bigger. I could probably, go smaller. It doesn't matter. What matters is the energy supportive of me and my growth. And I'm growing in leaps and bounds. And when I talk to spirit all the time, they're like, Peter, we're going to give you every bit of help we can give you. This is my sacred self and my team. We're going to give you every bit of help we can give you because you're doing service. And the more you do service, the more you're going to get that help. Okay. So I'm okay having a small team. So I can't answer for you, is any connection right or wrong? It's just you got to play the discernment game and just accept that this is grade school now, because you moved from Earth school to galactic school. Now you're in the galactic school playground. So play and you'll know who the bullies are.
Well, I appreciate that. I've been hearing messages for a long time and kind of frustrated with it. So for me, this was so wonderful. I got to empower myself and become the master of my own energy field. And I did immediately realize and find out that I had a few tag-alongs that were just lost. A lot of them were lost. A lot of them were feeding off my old addictions and things that I was dealing with. But I had goddess Athena come through. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I am starting to Google these names that are coming through, and I guess I'll have to practice my discernment in order to know, are these in my best interest? As far as, I don't want any more spiritual growth per se, as far as cleaning up. I'd like to be communicating with higher levels,
Yeah, the ones that satisfy you. I don't get names like you do. So if I get energy and it feels good, I'll just try to let whatever, and I'll type in Google, looks like this, seems like that, and put God or goddess or whatever, and then look at the pictures until I see, oh, that's the one I spoke to. And then that's how I identify it. And, it's mainly just play. It's mainly for me, just play. Like you say, it's like, oh yeah, this is a good energy. I want to talk to you. And sometimes it's just cruising by. And because of the meditations I do when you were in that class, and those of you who join the Patreon community, you'll notice that whenever I start a meditation, I say, and now I invite all beings in service to love and light, who carry the frequency of love, who are aligned with our intention to be here tonight. So I'm inviting in dozens and hundreds every time I do that, right? I don't even know who they are, but because in the oneness field, I get it or I don't, then the message comes or I don't. And I was dealing with an email from somebody today, and they were worried about, do I have to call it God? Can I call it to Buddha nature? And I wrote back, God doesn't care what you call it. God cares that you call it. So if you want to call it Buddha nature, that's your God. I got friends who call it Fred. Seriously, I do. Okay. And so that's all okay. So the deal I have with God, with Source, with all these entities is they make me think it's my idea, so I listen. So I don't even worry anymore or try to identify this comes from here or this comes from there. I'm in the oneness field. I got the pleasure of being the beacon that it's focused on in this moment. I'm going to take credit for it.
Wonderful. I appreciate that. Real quick, I am interested in more information about the past life clearings. Is that going to be in your other books or other classes?
Yeah. Probably in the next class. It's probably not going to be in the second book, because Spirit this morning, I was freaking out. I blocked off 3 weeks to write this book. And people are like, write a book in 3 weeks. And I go, well, yeah, the last one came in 2.5 weeks of writing and 6 weeks from conception to publication. So, but I was freaking out. Can I do another book? And right, so I blocked off 3 weeks on my calendar, going to a beach house in North Carolina, going to write. And I'm like, I was freaking out about that. And then this morning, Spirit downloaded the chapter outline. I was like, oh, I can write this. I know all that stuff. It's right here, right now.
Nice.
No problem. I got it. And no, clearing past life stuff is not in the second book. It will be in the second class I teach. Okay.
All right. So then my other challenge, last time I got someone, I asked Spirit, I said, if I can attend his class, I need to get out of this appointment I have with my client. And my client ended up getting sick. So I don't want to do that again. How far do you think you can book it out really far in advance? Because I'm booked out.
It'll be in March, and I'll probably put it out there soon. When it comes, I don't know yet. And don't be taking credit for I can make people sick. But when I get what I want, they don't get what they want. That's a crappy. Get rid of that programming. That was how she chose to get out of your appointment. Okay.
Well, I wanted to come to your class so bad, but I feel an obligation, and I want to do what's best for my clients. I want what's best for them. So
yeah, just hold that.
Well, try not to make it like March 16th or something like that.
Email me.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to put my glasses on now so I can read Roxanne's question, even though it's going to have glare on it. All right. And let's go back to that. When it is time to step out in public to share the work with the people, to share the work with the world, or should the work be energetic? Oh, I'm a doctoral candidate. I have studies in metaphysical modalities from Reiki to pharmacology. I'm also doing a doctorate in psychology. How do I integrate this all? Academic, spiritual, and clinical while staying in integrity? That's such a beautiful question, Roxanne. That is Roxana. I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing your name fully, but that's such a beautiful question. Yeah, I was thinking about that again this morning. The answer came to me while I was just finishing my morning hot tub. That's where I do my connection, because I'm in a pool of water and it's just nice. And it's warm. Anyway, so yeah. So first of all, it doesn't matter what you do in the world. Okay. What matters is that you do it from a place of your inner integrity, that you do it from a place where you've cleared all your blockages. And when you do that, you're going to then start to help people. I've got family members, I got lots of other people, and they're always working in the world. It's for this candidate or that candidate, or for this movement or that movement, or for stop fracking, or save the environment, or do this or do that. And it's beautiful things they all do. It's very helpful things they all do. But it's all coming from driven to change the world. And that's great. That's great. But until you get it clear in yourself, it doesn't have a place to stick. It doesn't have that integrity that you're looking for. So all this work has to be done internally first to get as clear as you want to. Now, I could have easily been a psychologist in this lifetime. I was just broken and hurt all through school and graduate school. And so I just read every single psychology book I could. And they were great. And they were helpful and stuff like that. And but I never ended up going that route for a degree. Now I'm an Ascension coach. And because I choose those words to call myself, I can talk to you freely from my inner authority and not have to lay it into anybody else's framework. Okay. Now, all that other stuff that you're learning is beautiful, and it's going to be the platforms that you then speak to people from. So sometimes you stand over from this learning modality, or sometimes that other learning modality, and you just put that out there. Okay. But it's all going to come back to your inner authority. That's going to be the most important part of it. So when you do that, then the things you do in the world has more effect. All right. I mean, you may not want to know about my sordid past because it's pretty got all kinds of horrible things in it. One of which is I ran for governor of the state of New Mexico. And I spent 18 months on the road going to Democratic Party meetings in all these counties just so I could sit there and go, bullshit, while people were sitting there saying all the political stuff they would. Because at that level of consciousness that I had at that time, it was the best I could do to try to bring spirituality, light to dark places. Really didn't work. All it did was bring darkness into me because I kept going into pools of darkness until I finally got all of that out of my system. Clear, all those blockages and all that stuff. That was out of my system. Now I can be in this other platform where I can speak from the light. And now I know it's going to filter down into politics because that's where the planet is heading. Okay. So doing all that stuff in the world is all beautiful, but it doesn't have a platform to land on and doesn't stick till you do it internally first. So I know we can't go back and forth here, but I'm going to keep my eye on the chat if you want to follow up on that, Roxana, but that's what I have for you now. All right, I do want to get into the transmission, but there's 3 more hands up, and I hate not taking them, but this is the last 3 hands, so nobody else raise your hands so that I can at least pretend that I don't feel bad if I ignore you. So Marla, Orly, and Jacob, let's go with Marla. If you would like to unmute yourself and go ahead and just start speaking so I can find where you're at. Here you are.
Okay. And mine's pretty quick, actually. So when you were gone with your computer issues, someone mentioned that they had stopped like their medicine or plant medicine or something, and then their Ascension just kind of, really popped. So I know you're not a doctor, but I'm wondering, would my antidepressant keep me from the experiences that I could be having? I mean, I'm not really depressed. I don't need to take them. It was more because I was teaching 8th graders and I needed a something to just kind of level off my irritability levels.
Okay. So I am not a doctor, and this is not medical advice. Okay.
Yes.
I'm only speaking from my experience and here. Okay. So here's the deal. As you move into the world, you're going to have different things triggered within you. Okay. And what you expressed was 8th grade teacher anxiety. So that was what was triggered within you. Okay. So then we do what we know how to do to try to make it okay. And in our culture, medication is one of those things we do. Now, there's no right or wrong to getting too close to spirit. There's no, oh, if I do this drug, I can't be there. If I do that drug, I can't be there. Almost always, it's the intent of why you do it. All right. And when I was having that beautiful conversation earlier with, I believe her name was Donna, and how I got out of addiction was to sit there and say, this is the best I can do in the moment. So what if that became your prayer? Hey, Spirit, I'm doing this beautiful drug here and I'm getting these beautiful results and I want to be closer to you and show me. And as you do that, you're going to automatically be building your relationship with Spirit. And then you're going to do whatever you do with your doctors and whatever doctoring you do, and you're going to have that discussion with them. And they're going to say, hey, well, maybe you're ready for this. Maybe let's try a reduced dosage or no dosage. All right. And that other stuff there. And then you're going to find that it's going to come to you and you're going to get those impulses and urges. And that's going to lead you until the channel opens up, and the channel may open up with antidepressants. I was a drug addict for a long time. All right. And then I was sober for 25 years, no drugs, no drink. Now, well, last night I went to the bar and I had some Baileys and Irish coffee while I was listening to a band, and it was great. And the thought was in the back of my mind, wow, can I really channel for people the next day after doing that? And the answer, of course, is yes. But when you're first practicing it, sometimes it's better to not have any of those other inputs and distractions. And so the neural net can open as best you can. Okay, does that help any?
Yeah, I don't think my doctor, I think she'll be fine if I want to go off it. I just wanted to see if if there was any knowledge out there about whether or not they can interfere with it, because I really would like to open up and do mediumship or channeling to help others. I'm a helper. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And clearly some of the antidepressant family spirit is telling me will block you up. And I don't know
okay.
about those in particular, but some will. And nothing supersedes your own consciousness. So even if you are in that state of having the channel shut down, it's never turned off.
Okay.
Dead. Okay. So
Right.
it's available to you. Whether or not it's available to you as much as you want, you're going to make that decision. The fact that you're actually here questioning it publicly is a pretty good sign that you know what to do next.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, beautiful. You've got the beautiful relationship you have with your divine, and it's your beautiful relationship, and it works for you. And what I want to say to everybody listening to this is you get to choose how you relate to your divine. Create your own God, I call it. All right, we were doing an exercise with that in this last class I taught. My God never gives me trials or tells me I must do this or I must do that. My God does not do that. My God loves me and supports me in what I choose to do. So what you're doing is beautiful and it works for you. And I just want to bring up that's you can have that relationship and everybody can have that relationship, which is super cool. So I just want to put that out there. Now, how do you resolve the paradox of oneness? And so that's a question in 3D that is just so 3D of you. That is just mind talking. What do you mean? How do you resolve the paradox of oneness? How do you how do you solve a problem like Maria? Right? Remember that song from The Sound of Music? Right? It's like there is no answer to that question. Consciousness is unknown and unknowable. One of my teachers, Sri Bhagavan, said, just the act of asking the question is consciousness. So to apply that to what you just said, how do you resolve the paradox? Well, just the act of asking the question is showing you the paradox. And it's a mystery. It's the divine. It's big. It's expansive. So the question in my mind is not how do you resolve the paradox, is how do you get okay with the expansiveness and the bigness and the unknowable and unknown qualities of all that is. How do you get okay with that? And you do it with the formula, which is see what's going on in your body, move your charges, see what any beliefs are behind those feelings, feeling, going all the way back till you get to it, and then clear that. And then you just dive in. I'm in a pool of mystery. And it feels like this. So when I'm in my hot tub, it's like I'm floating around, or I feel the bubbles, and that's my experience. So it's not a matter of being okay with it. It's a matter of I'm having this experience of it, and I acknowledge it. Now, one of the beautiful things I did is I was at Oneness University, and we were there for like a month, and we were learning what awakening was. This was before awakening came to the planet in a big way. And so we were learning what awakening was. So they're trying to tell us what it was so we could know it when it got there, right? So this one guy's had this beautiful experience, this guy from Brazil. He was talking about this beautiful experience, all the stuff that happened. And he goes to the teacher, Kumarji. He says, is that awakening? And Kumarji says, it was awakening until you explained it to all of us. By putting it in the mind and making it into 3D, he had separated himself from that experience. So you may want to consider if you have resistance to letting yourself swim in that pool of bigness and oneness. And that is what's taking you out of it. And then when you're in it, there's no question. It's just it. I don't know if that helps there, or if it's just me spinning back in us. A cat chasing its tail, but that's what I got for you. Okay, last question before we go into the transmission. Jacob, if you could please unmute yourself and go ahead and just.
Hello. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hello. And thanks for the opportunity to speak to everyone. I'm just trying to get some clarity. Like I've I know a lot of people have lost like family members over their life. I lost my mom in September earlier this year. And I'm just wondering if I would benefit off of doing some, I know we've been talking about plant medicine, like on a medicine retreat. I've been trying to think about that maybe I benefit off of like a reset or a transformation that would help me overcome obstacles, because I feel like I do have a job. I'm 38 years old, but then there's a lot of things that are setting me back a lot. Like I've driven, I don't have a driver's license. I show up to my jobs with public transportation and that kind of stuff, but I feel for some reason, and I want to see if you know any answers about this, that if I would benefit off of something like that, like maybe a reset, how do I explain that? Hopefully I'm articulating what I'm trying to get across properly, but that's my question to you. What do you think about this situation, if I may ask? Sorry.
That's a beautiful question, and thank you for bringing it to the public.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give you several answers, and they may or may not work.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I am not versed in plant medicine. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can't answer about that. Now, some of my best friends are, and they're shamans, they're trained, and they do all that stuff, and they have these incredible experiences, and they invite me to do them with them. And almost always spirit says, no, not for you. And I'm like, great. And it's not like they tell me what to do or not, but it does. I get a sense that that's not going to serve me. So why do it? Right now, they will go into whatever states they go into, and I can sit with them while they're doing their ceremony and be in the same state because I'm in their field. And that's really kind of trippy cool, and I don't understand it. So if we go back to the questions that have been coming up today, which has been the drug question came up earlier, and then the medication question came up, and now the plant medicine question is coming up, kind of a theme, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it is. My personal journey is that I don't use those tools because I often feel like they take me out of what's going on inside my body. And until I'm okay with what's going on inside my body, then that will be a barrier, not a help. Now, on my website, becomingawesome.one.ona, there's a page called Processes. Scroll down to where it says Healing Relationships with Your Parents, and consider that as an exercise. And that's just something that's free. You can just do, and you don't need any outside thing, and you'll do it. One of the reasons it came up that I want to direct you to that is when I was taught this, is that obstacles in life are almost always related to unresolved issues with your mom. Finances in life are almost always unresolved issues with your dad. Obstacles are for unresolved issues with your mom. I didn't understand it at the time. I still don't understand it. I do know I've worked that process a lot, and I talk to my mom all the time now that she's passed, and the obstacles just seem to fade away. They didn't used to. It took a long time, but now they just seem to fade away. So I know that from my experience, and it may not be right for you, from my experience, that is a clearing path that you could get to, and these obstacles will go away. Now, I'm not saying you do the process once and then everything's clear. I wish. And it could be because the energy's stronger on the planet now, but that was not my experience. Mine was you did it a bunch and you helped other people do it, and then everything got clear. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's what I just wanted to pass along to you, that you're going to find the right path to you for you. There is no one way to God. Many names to the divine, many paths to get there. Yours may be the plant medicine way. What's clear is you understand that your obstacles are related to what's happened with your mom and her passage. And if you address that in whatever venue you choose to address that, you will start to get the progress that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm trying to do. And my dad passed away. It was 14 years.
I just lost you there. You just went in mute.
So I'm just trying to, figure it out and go through this path of life. I'm still trying to discover my purpose and destiny as everybody else is. And I just want to be able to try to be as somewhat of a light to the world as I can, like what you're doing. So thank you for how you're helping with people, and really do appreciate the work that you do. Thank you. Yeah. So
Many blessings, brother. Okay,
yeah.
we're going to get into this transmission now. I got to move this computer. I've had my laptop on my desk. I'm sorry, everyone who's watching this on YouTube, that it's all messed up the way it's been, but my other computer just decided to crash in the middle of the recording, and we're on plan B. And that's what you do sometimes. You just do what's available. You guys know that joke, right? You want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans. Okay. All righty. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to work with you guys all to get into a oneness field. And when we're in that oneness field, then I'm going to stop all the music, and I'm just going to spend a period of time looking into the camera. And your job is just to look at me. All you're going to do is just look back at me in my eyes. And I'm going to do my best to actually look at the camera and not look at the screen of myself, right? Okay, so you're just going to look in my eyes, and I'm going to get out of the way as best I can, and source is going to come through. And hopefully you're going to make a connection. And because I've been given the gift of awakening, I now have the frequency embedded in me. And when I get out of the way and we power it with our connection with source, you're going to get awakening. Those of you who are dealing with addictions and chemicals and all that other stuff, this is the time to sit there and say, oh yeah, help me with all that. You know, it's okay to ask for what you want from source. It's perfectly okay. And, you know, here's to you receive it. Okay, so that's all you're going to do. After you spend this period of time where you're looking at me, then I'm going to play this really funky song from the monks at Oneness, the Liberation Sutra. Go lie down, close your eyes, and let yourself integrate. And then I'm just going to end the call. That's just how it's going to be. So the video will just end, but you'll be already lying down, letting yourself integrate. Okay? Now, because I hurriedly threw on this computer, it's going to take me a second to set up my ability to send music across. So just be patient with me again. It's how fun things are when you're having fun. All righty. All right, so everybody, please take a nice deep breath. Oh. Now, please invite your sacred higher self to be with you. Yeah, that is beautiful. Now bring your source in. Yeah, whatever you call your beautiful name for your God. Nice. Now bring your team in. Angels, guides. You got some ET friends, some inner earth friends, whoever your friends are that you play with, bring them in, please. Oh, that's super, super good. Super, super good. Your ancestors, invite them to be here. Gaia, Mother, we've been on your back. You've supported us for so long. Thank you. Please be with us. Now we put out an open call to all beings of high frequency and service to love and light. If you are aligned with the awakening of everyone on this call and everyone in this watching this video, we ask you to be here and support this energetic. I'm going to play this song. All of you will see a column of light from the central sun come into your forehead and then into your heart. And then your heart's going to light up and you're going to exhale. And you're going to exhale to everybody on the call, including all the spirit that we invited in and everybody watching the video in the future. Then you're going to breathe it back in from everybody, including spirit and those viewing, into your heart. And then exhale it back to them. Start from the central sun into your heart, and then inhale from your heart, exhale from your heart to everyone, back into yourself. Do that for the duration of this song. Before we start, if you care to repeat after me, please do so. I am my I am presence. And I am one with the I am presence of all humanity. Don't worry about looking at my eyes now. Just go stay focused with your team and breathe in and out from your heart. I'll tell you when you can open your eyes and start to look. just gaze into my eyes and see your spirit, your divine, and let all your prayers flow freely out and be answered. Oh, oh, oh. go ahead, please, and lie down and let yourself integrate. Know you've received whatever you have from your connection to Source.
जीवस्य विमुक्तिः एतस्मात् इन्द्रियाणां विमुक्तिः एतस्मात्
Many, many blessings to all of you. You are just so precious. You are an aspect of God. Thank you for being with me and receiving. Thank you for being who you are. Carry it forth. Shine your light.